Today we are gathered to celebrate the graduation of the Senior Leader Course Class 25-001. For the past 3 weeks, these NCOs have put into practice leadership skills such as counseling, mentoring, Army writing, critical thinking, along with problem solving to give them the critical foundational education for effective leadership as an enlisted senior in the Army and in the Army National Guard recruiting and retention. Today's guest speaker for today's ceremony is Sergeant Major Allnutt. Sergeant Major Jeremy Allnutt was assigned to the 18th Airborne Corps as a Senior Reserve Component Command Career Counselor on 19 August 2024. He joined the Ohio Army National Guard on 20 September 2002 and served as both a traditional guardsman and an AGR for over 22 years. He completed basic training at Fort Moore, Georgia, and AIT as a Signal Systems Support Specialist at Fort Eisenhart, Georgia. Sergeant Major Allnutt was promoted to the rank of Sergeant Major on 5 December 2021. Prior to his assignment at Fort Liberty, Sergeant Major Allnutt served as the Reserve Component Command Career Counselor for the 101st Airborne and Fort Campbell Senior Reserve Component Career Counselor at Fort Novosel. Team Chief and Chief of Training Development at the Strength Maintenance Training Battalion, Reserve Component Liaison NCO at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Recruiting and Retention NCO, Ohio Army National Guard, and also served as the 237th BSB S6 NCOIC during OEF. Sergeant Major Allnutt has been awarded numerous rewards and decorations, including the Meritorious Service Medal, 4th Award, Army Commendation Medal, 4th Award, Army Achievement Medal, 5th Award, Good Conduct Medal, 6th Award, Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal with Campaign Star, Military Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal, Army Service Ribbon, NATO Medal, and numerous state awards. Sergeant Major Allnutt has been a Director's 54 recipient in 2007 and 2010, along with being awarded the TRADOC LNCO of the Year 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Major Allnutt.
Good morning, Lieutenant Colonel Ferguson, Command Sergeant Major Fasseth, First Sergeant Blanton, distinguished guests, and most importantly, the graduates of SLC Class 25-001. Thank you for allowing me to the privilege of being your guest speaker today. Over the last 3 weeks, I hope that you have gained valuable insights on not just being a senior recruiting and retention NCO, but on becoming a well-rounded senior leader. This transition is often challenging for many RRNCOs, myself included. Throughout my journey in the Army National Guard, I have grown, learned from those around me, and developed a guiding philosophy that has shaped my approach to leadership. This is a philosophy that each one of you must find for yourselves. So allow me a few moments to share mine with you. So my philosophy is built around the idea of be real. So an acronym that serves as a reminder that we are always in the public's eye, along with working with people. So what does REAL stand for? Well, first, it's be resilient. As recruiting and retention NCOs, you have all faced challenges that tested your resilience. And you must always remember that today's setbacks are opportunities for growth and to help you build for a stronger tomorrow. The second part of REAL is be the example. As senior leaders, it's essential to set a standard for others to follow and emulate. Always remember that your actions are being watched, so lead by example in every situation possible. Don't, use the phrase, don't be that guy or gal. So for the A is two-part. It's be accountable and be available. As senior leaders, this one may seem like pretty straightforward, but it's often the hardest part. Accountability extends not only to your subordinates and peers, but also to yourself. And then being available means being present for those around you, your soldiers, your peers, and most important, your family. The last part of it is to be lethal. Remember, as soldiers in the greatest army in the world, we must never lose sight of our primary mission, and that is to engage and destroy the enemies of the United States. It's easy to let our basic soldiering skills decline over time as recruiting and retention NCOs. But maintaining them is crucial because we may never know what our future holds. Great example, you heard in my bio that I was deployed as a S6 NCOIC. That was 11 and 12. By that point, I was a recruiting and retention NCO for 6 years. Pulled off of recruiting duty, involuntarily deployed to Afghanistan for a year and a half. Train up in the mission overseas. So you never know what's going to be required of you next. Out of these principles, the most significant one for me is being accountable. While this may sound simple, it can be very uncomfortable to implement. Take, for example, who in here is part of Army WTF or Recruiter Times on Facebook and social media? Be honest, we all are. Makes for some good coffee morning readings. But recently, there is a sergeant from a state's recruiting and retention battalion that has made headlines on both of those forums and across social media because now it's being picked up by other ones. And it is for something as simple as their uniform being misaligned. So he didn't hold himself accountable to make sure his uniform was right before putting on. It was the AGSUs. And then those around him failed to address it because we know he didn't go out in public without others with him. And what is it you asked was wrong with his uniform? Well, last time, rank doesn't go here. He had these completely flipped on his left sleeve. As leaders, we must have the courage to speak up when we see something wrong, even if it means having those difficult conversations. It's better to correct an issue and uphold an organization's standards than it is to let them slide and compromise its integrity. I understand that holding others accountable, especially when superiors can be daunting. Here's a prime example. When I was first starting out in this career field as a GWAT ADOS soldier, for those that were around, that's a long time ago. I was a specialist working, doing my job enlisting soldiers. My NCOC at the time was doing change credit slips through MEPS. And what's that mean? It means as I was enlisting people, on the backside, he was changing my credit to others. His mentality was, well, you're not AGR, they are, I gotta take care of them. I asked to speak with him, held him accountable, and shared my situations with him. But it was very uncomfortable because here I am, a young specialist, starting off, fighting for my job because tomorrow ADOS money can be gone. Having a conversation with the master sergeant who, in recruiting command's probably been around close to 20 years, put me in an uncomfortable position, but I had to stand my ground. Ended up coming back that he honored, and they went back and made what should have been. But one thing that situation taught me is sometimes you got to stand up for what is right no matter what. I could have walked out of that meeting with nothing happening, or it could have went the way it went. So in closing, as you all leave this course today and you're traveling home, you step into your roles, you go back to your recruiting, you go back to your areas, whether you're retention, recruiting, whatever it may be. First and foremost, you're going out as now a senior leader. And I want you to remember to be real. Resilience, set an example, be accountable and available. and maintaining your lethality are not just words, but a principle in which to live by. Uphold these values and the Army values with pride, and you inspire those around you and strengthen the Army National Guard as a whole. Once again, congratulations to each of you for completing this significant milestone in your careers. I charge you all to go forth, lead with integrity, and make a difference. Thank you.
Sergeant Major Allnutt, thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom and leadership experience.